How do you get through that gatekeeper, the brain, the biggest gatekeeper of them all? And understand, we've learned more about the human brain in the last 10 years than the last 100 years combined. It is the biggest filter, the biggest gatekeeper, the biggest barrier to your persuasion, motivation, influence, and sales. Let's learn how to cut through the clutter, use the brain, and become more influential. Stay tuned.
Maximize your influence. Kurt Mortensen is the author of Persuasion IQ, Laws of Charisma, and the best-selling book, Maximum Influence.
Welcome back to Maximize Your Influence. This is podcast 537. Kurt Mortensen here. Glad you're here, becoming a better influencer, learning the skills, understanding the science, and going out and persuading with power. That's the key. I love your feedback, love the emails. Keep them coming. Glad that it's making a difference. Tell your family, friends, and enemies about the podcast. Maximize Your Influence can be found at MaximizeYourInfluence.com, iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. The key is to keep learning, keep doing it, adding more tools to your influence toolbox, and to keep the score with your close rates or new clients or income coming in or satisfaction reports. Whatever it is that you do, keep the score because it helps you stay on track. It helps you know when you're improving. And even better, it shows you an upward trend. You're like, Kurt, what's that? Well, those that invest in the stock market know, and you look at the charts, you look for an upward trend. So you look at a stock or a cryptocurrency, whatever you're investing in, and you'll see it going up, down a little bit, up, down a little bit. But as long as the upward trend's up, you know you're doing well. Not every day can a stock or a cryptocurrency go up in value. There's ups and downs. And that's true with your persuasion in your life too. So keep the score. And as long as you're in an upward trend, you're on the right track. So let's get into our geeky Scarly article. Interesting. We talk a lot about the subconscious mind, that up to 95% of persuasion influence involves a subconscious trigger, a feeling, things you do, you say, your voice, your words. A lot of things happen here. The title of this article is Latent Learning, How We Subconsciously Pick Up Information. This comes from Psych Central and the Current Opinion in Behavioral Sciences. Of course, the article will be posted at MaximizeYourInfluence.com along with the archives, the advanced training products, and you can take your free Persuasion IQ assessment there. And let me know about things you want to hear on the show. So latent learning was developed way back in 1929 by Hugh Blodgett. Now, latent means hidden or concealed under the radar. We don't know about it. We're just picking things up without even knowing it, without even trying. So subconsciously picking up information to use later is known as latent learning. Let's say you're walking down the road and you notice tall bushes obscuring a busy intersection, but you don't think anything of it. But next time you drive your car down that same road, you slow down, something's up, what's going on? You're more alert because you know latently that there's poor visibility at that intersection. That's what your brain does. So let me give you some examples here. They did some experiments with rats. What do you know? Always rats. And they would put them in a maze, but then one day they would block it. But the rats had enough working knowledge of the maze, so when that block was there, they could quickly go around it and find the cheese. They hadn't studied it. They hadn't expected it. It was just latently learned. Because there's latent learning and observational learning. So observational learning or social learning comes from Albert Bandura, who's done a lot with influence and motivation. He says that you learn behaviors, attitudes, and thought processes is by observing and imitating others. And then you can decide if you should repeat that behavior or try something else. For example, if someone gets angry at you for putting your feet on the table, you understand that's undesirable and you don't do it again. Latent learning, again, below the radar, just happens. Whether you are trying to do it, whether other people are there giving you reinforcement, it just happens. You might observe something, not think much of it, but you can use that information later on. It's recorded in your brain. Well, for example, I was at an Airbnb. It's a big cabin. I was in a closet getting some supplies. There was an extension cord in there that I didn't think I noticed, but when we needed an extension cord, I knew exactly where it was. Latent learning. Children learning a language, it just kind of happens. They learn words, phrases from their environment, listening to their peers. They don't use them right away, but next time they need them, it's in their brain. When you drive, just instinctively knowing where to go, where to turn, where to park. You didn't memorize all the streets, but you've learned it over time. So late learning is under the radar, subconscious, unintentional, has no immediate use. It's just a process your brain uses to perceive the world, the environments around you, and to record for future use. Let me add to this, trust your subconscious mind. It's absorbed everything around you. It's in your brain. When you feel that this is not a safe place or this is a bad person, you shouldn't trust this person, you shouldn't do business with this person, you can program your subconscious mind to give you the answers. You've lost your keys. Where are they? You can't remember? Just think about it before you go to bed. I know this has happened to you. You wake up, you remember exactly where they are. That's your subconscious mind. So how can we use this in the world of persuasion and influence? Let's talk about it by talking about the persuasion blunder.
Don't!
Because you've all been to stores or homes or offices or meetings where you felt uncomfortable, something wasn't quite right, you didn't trust the person, you just felt like leaving. You ever had that happen? That's the blunder. Now let's combine that with the weekly email.
Oh boy!
So this is from Jared from Philadelphia. That's in Pennsylvania, United States. He says, Kurt, love the podcast. Thanks for spending the time, learning a lot, and persuading with power. Thanks, Jared. He says, I've been wanting the free version of Influence University, so I'm taking a shot with this email. Listeners, so you know, when I use anything on the show from your emails, you get the free version of influenceuniversity.com. So, Kurt, I went to the mall, went to the store, and it was just like, ooh. I didn't want to buy. I couldn't put my finger on it. I had no desire to linger. Obviously, it was the atmosphere. I'm not sure what it was, but there was something about the atmosphere that did not sit well with me. So, Kurt, how much does atmosphere matter in the influence process? All right, so let's talk about that. Just your surroundings, what people pick up latently, right? We talked about. And I'd say it's off the charts. I don't have an exact number for you because it differs in retail, in casinos, in seminars, and even industry. But it matters more than you'll ever realize. Casinos are off the charts, subconscious trigger tools. They know everything. They make the ceilings high so you think bigger. No one's wearing watches. There's no clocks. Even just the trading in your cash for a chip, which doesn't have the same value as a chip, even though logically we know it does, but subconsciously it doesn't. There used to be a store called Nike Town. And this was a store by Nike, right? It was a sports store, and you just went in there and just the videos and the athletes, you felt like you could run a marathon, that you could win the Super Bowl just with the surroundings and the adrenaline. It matters. So let's talk about what we can do to grab people's attention, to keep them on track, to understand these subconscious triggers, to understand your brain, which is the biggest gatekeeper. Let's talk about your RAS, your Reticular Activating System. You're like, what is that? Well, it's a network of neurons located in the brainstem, and they play a crucial role in regulating alertness, what you're focusing on, what you pick up. It's a sensory filter. This RAS, remember, Reticular Activating System in your brain, screens all the incoming information and highlights what it considers important for our attention. You know, noisy room, but you hear your name? RAS. It helps prioritize relevant stimuli and ignore unnecessary information because there's hundreds of things going on around you right now that you're not aware of unless your RAS brings it to your attention. So this RAS, Reticular Activating System, allows us to focus on goals, be alert, pick up the essential information we need to learn, to keep our attention, or even to adjust our perception. And it's the gatekeeper of filtering all that sensory information. Bottom line, persuasion influence, if you're not on the radar, if they're not listening to you, paying attention to your presentation, You can't sell them, you can't influence them. So remember, the RAS is the gatekeeper. It decides what information gets through to your conscious mind. It has to filter out millions of pieces of sensory data that you encounter every second. I know that's a lot to think about. Millions of pieces every second. If you want to go back to the archives, they said in this article 11 million pieces of information get into the brain, and that's per second, and your brain can handle 40 pieces of information a second. That's your conscious brain. We just lower the number because it's just so big. Let's say 100 things are going on, you're aware of one or two. And you've got to cut through to the RAS to make sure that you're the one or two. So this RAS, Reticular Activating System, pulls cues from what we prioritize, what we focus on, what we're thinking about, what our goals are, our emotional triggers. Those are the things that it pulls from to decide what gets through. And then this RAS directs your attention to the relevant stimuli, allowing you to concentrate on those goals, those tasks, your repetitive thoughts, and gets you to ignore all the other distractions. So for example, if you're focused on improving your sales skills, your RAS is on it. It's going to alert you to sales techniques, other people doing it. It helps you focus on what you currently want to focus on. If this happened to you, you're looking to buy a certain car, or even you bought one, that's now on your radar. Now you see it everywhere. You never saw it before, but now you see it everywhere. If you have a goal to make money, now you'll be more aware of articles and ads, financial tips, those that are successful, because your brain has tagged this information as important to one of your current priorities. So your RAS helps you navigate the world with all the things going on, with all the input, without being overwhelmed by all these irrelevant details. It's a powerful tool for improving focus, attention, and getting you to achieve your goals. That's why goal setting is so important. It activates your RAS. It gets the important things that you need, that you're looking for on your personal radar. For some, it's daily affirmations. For some, even visualization. So how do we use this for influence? Well, you've got to activate their RAS and get you on their radar. So number one is listening. Talked about that great persuaders listen 3 times more, but you're listening for clues. You're picking up on key words that they keep mentioning over and over again, and you start to mirror those words. If they're using trucking, transportation, semi, supply chain, what words are they using? Use their words, and every time you use their words, it's going to trigger their RAS, and they'll pay more attention to you. And as you listen, pick up their pain. What is their biggest challenges? What are their problems? The more you talk about their pain, their challenges, their problems, the more their RAS is activated, because that's on their radar. That's what they're concerned about. Their goal is to get rid of that problem. And as you talk about the solutions, the RAS is activated, and they're going to listen to you more and pay more attention. Because if they're not engaged, they're involved, they're not listening, we all know you can't persuade them. And as you're aware, you're recognizing buying signals. You can pick up their signals. Are they engaged? Are they nodding up and down? Are they answering your questions? Not just answering yes or no, but engaged. I mean, really answering your questions. You can tell with a prospect, yes, no, sometimes, maybe, I don't know, versus, well, I don't know, let me tell you about it, how engaged they are. So reinforce their buying signals, nod with them, smile with them. Know when you've tapped into what they call their greed glands. What's a greed gland? You found out that it's all about ego for them. They're the first to do it, show it off, first to have it, make the most money, be the hero, be the best. It's all under greed glands, and you can see that when they're giving you those buying signals, what's important to them. Another thing you can do is goal setting with your prospects. Have a target, have a goal, so it activates their RAS. They're going to start looking for it. So before a negotiation, for example, set clear and specific goals, activate their RAS. You both agree on what you're going to do, what the rules are, and when your goals are the same, you and the prospect are activated. I mentioned visualization. That can activate the RAS. Hey, imagine when you are. Picture this. Remember, the universe will not reward you physically until you see it mentally, that you can see yourself doing it. The way you talk about it, the pictures you show, can all help visualization. Imagine how you're going to feel when triggers RAS in the visualization part of the brain. Even mental rehearsal, let's try it out, let's play with it, let's see how it works, can all help with the visualization because you're actually doing it, but they can visualize what you're doing solving their problem or challenge. And always create positive associations. Associate with positive outcome and experiences. This could trigger their RAS to get them motivated, reduce their resistance, and making them more open to your approach. Talk about this at Maximum Influence. This is an association trigger. Every word you use could trigger positive or negative emotions. Your environment, the way you're dressed, your voice, your physical appearance, all triggers positive or negative triggers. Can help activate the RAS or not even get through the gatekeeper of the brain. Now remember, based on the law of association, it could be a smell. When people are near the smell of a Cinnabon store, they're more likely to donate to a charity. When people go through a house and it smells bad, that has a bad trigger. That's why they bake bread, cook cookies, have potpourri so it can smell like you're coming home. You know the difference between movie popcorn and someone at work burning the popcorn? Same corn, two different reactions. Movement can grab people's attention. Ever been in the supermarket and they have these motion detectors with coupons come flying out of the machine when you walk by? You're like, whoa, got your attention. Symbols, religious symbols, political symbols, success symbols, all triggers different feelings. Gold, for example, not even close to being the most precious metal, but there's something about gold and the symbol of wealth. Average 2-year-old can recognize the symbol of McDonald's. Round table, square table, different symbol. Color, first color your brain's going to see is yellow. Interesting, a lot of people think it's red, but you look at fire hydrants and fire trucks, a lot of them are becoming yellow. It's the first color to grab our attention. Probably the first color to annoy, too. If the whole room was painted yellow, you were wearing yellow, your PowerPoint was in yellow, that would start to annoy people and cause tension and uneasiness. And remember, different colors mean different things to different cultures, even different industries. Red to the medical industry is very different than red to an accountant. So association triggers are a big part of activating RAS. Let me give you an example. So a few years ago, New Year's resolution to eat healthy. And I was doing really well. And part of that resolution was no more fast food. I like fast food. It's quick, easy, pretty tasty. And we all know it's not that good for you, so no fast food. And I did well for a while, but I had this long meeting. I'd be doing some training, wouldn't be able to eat. There was no food. If I didn't eat now, I'm not going to eat that day. And I'm like, oh, I can go to fast food. Instead of a double cheeseburger, I'll get a grilled chicken sandwich light on the mayo. Instead of a Coke, a Diet Coke. Instead of fries, maybe a salad. I was pulling up to Wendy's. And I'm like, I can do this. And I waited my turn. Again, this is the drive-thru. And she said, may I take your order? And without hesitating, I said, I'll take a double Baconator with cheese, a large Coke, and a fry. And I'm like, oh, where did that come from? I mean, really, in my mind, I was going to get a grilled chicken sandwich. Now I have a double Baconator coming, which has, 10 more calories or more? What grabbed my brain? What association triggers grabbed me? Well, it could have been smell. They do pump the smell out for a reason. Maybe they recommended it. That's a proven bump in sales. Maybe the pictures. They spend a lot of money on those pictures for that very reason. Maybe I heard someone else ordering it. Maybe I saw someone eating it. Maybe I saw a commercial the night before thinking it had no effect on my brain. Maybe I was just hangry. And when you're hungry, your blood sugar's low, you usually don't make the best decisions. That's why you don't go to court when the judge is hungry, because it's been proven right before lunch, the sentencing gets a little more harsh. Just saying. So, hey, now you know more about the human brain, association triggers, latent learning, the RAS, the Reticular Activating System. That's the gatekeeper. You got to break through that gatekeeper before you can worry about any other gatekeeper, because that's what's keeping the information that you want to get in their brain from getting into their brain. So thanks for being here. Appreciate your love, energy, support, your emails. Please take your presentation IQ. Go to presentationiq.com and take this assessment. It's only 10 questions. It'll take you a few minutes. It helps with my research. It's completely free. Helps me identify your strengths and your weaknesses, and I'll give you the solution. I'm going to give you the webinar on the perfect persuasive presentation, which has the structure, the downloads, how to create, how to deliver that perfect, charismatic presentation that influences others to do what you want them to do. It's that simple. So that link is also going to be in your email under podcast 537. But hey, understand the brain, cut through the clutter, get through that gatekeeper, become a better negotiator, better influencer, a better presenter, and go out and persuade with power.